You're listening to the Achievement Mastery Podcast, the show where ambition meets action and high performers come to break through limits, scale big dreams, and master their success. Hosted by performance coach and achievement strategist Lajos Kovacs, a trusted guide to driven entrepreneurs and growth-minded leaders across Europe and beyond. Each episode delivers powerful conversations with world-class experts, visionary entrepreneurs, and unstoppable changemakers, designed to fuel your mindset, your momentum, and your mission. If you're ready to rise above the noise and unlock your next level, you're in the right place. This is the Achievement Mastery Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Achievement Mastery Podcast, where we explore the habits, strategies, and mindsets behind extraordinary success. Today, I'm excited to welcome Naeem Mahmood, a high-performance strategist, speaker, and founder of Peak Humans. Having delivered over 1,000 talks and served as a trainer with the Tony Robbins team, Naeem blends cutting-edge behavior design with longevity science to help founders and sales teams achieve consistent, sustainable performance. He's here to talk about what really moves the needle in business growth, and it's not just tactics and tools. From energy management and nervous system regulations to belief systems and daily cadence, this episode is packed with practical insights for any entrepreneur who wants to scale their business without burning out. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Naeem.
Awesome, man. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Let's go back in time a little bit. Okay, you spent years working with Tony Robbins, delivering talks and trainings. How did that chapter shape your approach to performance and communication?
That shaped everything. Getting to learn and work with Tony was probably one of the best experiences of my life, professionally and personally. He's a master at what he does, obviously, and being able to be coached and learn, and just through osmosis, being so close in proximity to somebody like that really rubs off on you really quick.
Great. How long have you been working with him?
So that was 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You say mindset is the true operating system. So can you explain what that means in the context of founders and high performers?
Yeah, I think it's funny. One of my clients the other day, he's a really successful business person. He has an Amazon business. He's doing over $1 million a month now. I was like, 100,000 a month or $1 million? It's over $1 million a month now in his business. And he put a post the other day. He says, mindset is the most important thing. And I hear it all the time when I talk to business owners. When I worked for Tony says this too, right? It's mindset. 80% of success is your mindset. The other 20% is the mechanics, right? So whether that's in business, in your health, in your relationships, it starts with your mindset. It starts with your belief in yourself, your belief that it's possible, your belief in people, your belief in life and what's happening around you, because we're all going to have challenges. There's no easy route in life, right? That's part of the design. The pain makes you grow and become a bigger, better person. So if you don't have the right mindset to prevail through those challenges and the right mindset to even believe to get started, nothing's going to happen.
This is where this famous quote from Harry Ford says,
Yep.
Yes, whether you think you're going to succeed or think you won't, you will be right. Part of this is time management, yes, or at least most people focus on time management, but you talk about energy management. How should funders approach this differently?
That's a great question. I just did a class on this last Friday with my group of founders that are working in technology and crypto. It was all about time management, but it's really energy management, right? I take it a little deeper, where we all have the same amount of time. And if you think just in time, that's a linear approach. And to go even deeper, Einstein kind of nixed this whole thing with the theory of relativity and how time doesn't really exist, and you could bend time and space. And I'm not going to go too deep there because I'm also not a physics expert either. But with time and energy, it's a similar thing where if I asked you, have you ever spent an hour, but it felt like a minute? Have you ever been in an experience like that where it was like, you were doing something for an hour, even 10 hours, but it went by in a blink? You ever had that experience?
Definitely.
Yeah. I just had that experience for the last month in Africa on safari. I was in Tanzania, Kenya, Gondwana, and here in South Africa with friends, and having the time of our life with my fiance, and seeing rhinos and giraffes and elephants and lions and cheetahs. And It was amazing. And it happened in the blink of an eye. Like, I'm like, that happened really quick and it's over. And I'm like, so that was 40 days that felt like a second for me. And then on the flip side though, have you ever had a minute, Lejos, feel like an eternity where you're like, I got to get out of this situation. This sucks. Get me away from this person. Have you ever had that experience before?
Yeah, and there is a saying that the length of a minute depends on which side of the toilet door you're at.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm going to use that one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I also like to use an analogy where if you ever do wall squats, like against this wall back here, if you ever do a wall squat,
Yeah.
they're really hard. And I'm like, this is a really long minute. Right. So similar with the toilet thing. I like that toilet one though. I'm going to use that. But so point is, time is relative, and deeper, it's time is emotion and it's energy, which are synonymous, right? Like if you are in a high energy state, you get into a flow state, right? You can get things done that would normally take you 3 hours in 20 minutes, right? Because you just channel it, you're in flow. Back when I was in university studying for exams, there's a law called Parkinson's Law. Have you heard of Parkinson's Law before?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Right? The amount of time you allot to a task or the amount of money or resources you give to a task, it'll blow up to expand to fill that time. And vice versa, if you shrink it down to like, okay, you have 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you'll get it done as well. So that's my long-winded answer, where it's really about the energy and the emotion behind the task or the activity or the outcome that you want to get done. And if you actually bring the right energy or state or frequency or emotion to it, the time can compress and it's much more flexible.
People come under time pressure. As for example, it's true to many students, yes, when they procrastinate until the last minute. And when they come under a really, really heavy time pressure, they are able to finish everything just a night before the exam.
Exactly. Boom. Yep. It reminds me of that quote, creativity loves constraints. You know who said that?
No?
Picasso. So whenever creative people tell me they don't like systems and managing things, I like to bring them that quote because Picasso, one of the most creative person ever, he said that. And the idea is when you give yourself constraints, one, again, you tap into a deeper flow state, but also two, it gives you more freedom for creativity and flow as well. So I like what you said about that, right? It's a perfect example.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this. And another thing actually two things, consistency versus intensity. So you said that consistency beats intensity. I used to have a gym and I've been going to the gym for, 25 years.
Nice.
And I also have a language school. And what I've seen, there is a pattern actually both in business and also in learning. So it happened over and over again. Every single year, you could predict when most people come, and it's usually after the summer holidays in September. People rush to the gym, people rush to language schools, rush to trainings, but then they run out of fuel usually by November. And then another wave comes just right after Christmas and New Year. In January, when you go to your usual gym, you see, a lot of new faces. It's like you enter the new gym, you don't even know who's who, and it's fully packed. And 70% of those people are gone by March. Mm-hmm. And by May, another 20% are gone. And maybe you can see 10% of those people staying there for over 6 months. Why do most people fail to stay consistent?
First of all, I totally agree with what you said. That's one of my favorite things to tell clients and remind myself that consistency over intensity. I think, why do people fail to stay consistent? I think it depends on each person's own individual belief systems and kind of, it's, again, fear is kind of the thing that gets in the way, right? But everybody has different fears of obviously failure and like rejection and the unknown. My answer would be, though, it's dependent on each individual. I help clients do this, right? I help clients go to the gym more, make their sales calls, whatever they want to do, right? It's about developing those habits consistently. But with each client I'm talking to, it's never the same answer, right? It's still obviously fear of the unknown, fear of something. Every client's got a different belief system that's getting in their way. That is my answer to your question. That was a great question. I never got asked that question before, but that was a great one. But yeah, I think as I think about it, that's what comes to mind for me when I coach people.
Actually, I can also connect this to this sprint and crash cycle that you mentioned. Can it be, partly or maybe for some people fully, this, they start very hard, they do a sprint, but they run out of fuel, either physically or emotionally, or, they say motivation. Motivation is very good to start something, but motivation doesn't last long unless you always find that fuel. You always find it emotional rocket fuel, yes? And that's where self-discipline comes into play, or something else that keeps you going even when it's uncomfortable.
That's definitely the cycle, right? People get really excited, overzealous, right? They're like, I'm going to work out. And they do it for like a week straight or 2 hours a day. They crash and they fail, right? And they kind of go through that cycle. Same with diet, same with business and sales and work and things like that as well. There's a really good video. Have you ever seen the 20-mile march video?
No, I think I
It's called the 20-mile march. People should look it up on YouTube. It's based on, Jim Collins. He wrote the book Good to Great. It's a really good book, but basically there's a principle in there called the 20-mile march, where the example is you take two people, they're marching across the United States of America from Los Angeles to New York City. And one person, she does it 20 miles a day, rain or shine, no matter what. She's like, all right, 20 miles. Some days she wakes up, she doesn't want to do it at all. She's like tired. She just does it anyway, no matter what, but not more than 20 either. And then other days she feels amazing. She's like, let's go. I can go for 100 miles, but no matter what, she stops at 20 miles a day. The other person, it actually is a guy in the example. He's like, starts out, he's like, I'm going to go 100 miles the first day. He goes really hard, goes 100 miles. Then he's like really tired. He like relaxes for a day or two to recover. Then he gets really excited again. He goes like another 50 miles. Then he gets really tired. Then there's like a storm that comes in and then he gets sick. And then by the time she's almost there in New York City, he's only like halfway through like Tennessee or wherever the midway point is of America. So the point is, again, just that simple, consistent pace beats those exuberant bursts of energy. It's a great video. You should YouTube it also. Just 20-mile march on YouTube.
I mean, thank you very much for the recommendation. Yeah. So, but here's a question related to this story. So, how do sleep and recovery tie into performance and longevity?
That's a great question. It ties into everything for it, because sleep is amazing. It's like the most powerful drug or steroid or peptide or whatever biohack people are looking for these days, and it's free. And it's a skill too. You have to train yourself to get better at sleeping. But that's when your body does the memory repair. When you do REM sleep, connects your learnings and your memories and associations and distinctions from the day, and also your deep sleep when your physical body repairs. I've been going to the gym a lot since we've been back from the month and a half of traveling, and my body's a lot more sore because I wasn't working out as consistently. I was doing more walks and yoga and stuff when I was traveling, but now I'm doing weights again. And getting that deep sleep is really important for my body to repair itself. So getting at least 3 hours of restorative sleep, which is REM and deep. Ideally, you want 90 minutes of each. Also, the other thing that people miss that's actually even more important than the amount of sleep is the sleep wake time consistency. I had a scientific director of Whoop, this company here where I have the band, on my podcast, and her name is Kristen Holmes. And I've heard this from other people too, like Huberman as well. But the most important thing, if you want to improve overall health and sleep and just function, is getting to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning, even on the weekends. And it's hard to do in the beginning, but if you get in that rhythm again, like you have so much more energy, your sleep score goes up, you feel better, and everything improves.
That explains a lot, because my son, he's only 13. He already does that.
Wow,
he goes to the bed exactly the same time. He wakes up exactly the same time, even on the weekends, even on holidays, even on New Year's Eve. He doesn't want to stay up until midnight because he goes to the gym 4 times a week. And he says, because if I don't sleep enough, I won't have enough energy.
Wow, your son's awesome. Is that on his own will? He decided that himself, yeah?
And now I'm learning from him. It's changed. So I'm learning from him. We go to the gym together, and I used to teach him, I used to tell him things. Now he's telling me things.
That's amazing.
But actually he takes it very seriously, because this is what he fell in love with. He wants to learn this inside out, and it gives him so much motivation and fuel that he excels in school. because he has a clear goal. He has clarity where he wants to be, what he wants from life. And it's amazing. You also talk a lot about ruthless clarity, to quote your words, vision, values, the one thing that matters. How can leaders sharpen that clarity?
I love going back to your son real quick. That's so cool. He's the real performance coach in the family, apparently.
He's the real high performance. He's my masterpiece.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Good for you. That's such a blessing. That's so cool that he's into that. Oh yeah, the other thing I love, does your son play sports or what does he do? Or you just love to
he
work
goes
out?
to the gym. He does, body weight training with weights. He really enjoys it and he's very, very good at it.
Very cool. Amazing, man. Awesome. To answer your question about ruthless clarity, I believe you said, that's where it starts. You got to have a vision. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's one of my favorite people that I look up to. Michael Jordan too, and Tony Robbins as well. Arnold, he always talks about you have to have a vision. Every rep. I work out when we're in LA. We have a place in Los Angeles. We go to Gold's Gym, which is where he still trains there. I still see him once in a while. It's really cool. He's still like in his 70s now, and he rides on his bike there with his crew. I remember this video. He's like, you got to have a vision. Every rep you take, visualize my muscles getting bigger. So he did that with bodybuilding, 6-time Mr. Olympia. Then he did it with acting. He's like, I want to be an actor in Hollywood. He did it as an actor. He did it in business. Like he made his money in real estate before he went into acting or as he was doing it. So he didn't have to depend on taking jobs in acting he didn't want to take. So he had control of the roles he took, which gave him a big edge. And then he did it in politics, obviously, as a governor and a politician. Starts with clarity, right? Being really specific on what you want, target, the direction. One of my mentors, he's a Navy SEAL sniper, and he says, you got to be dead on with your target. So same with dead on with your target for your health, dead on with your target for your business, for sales. And then it chunks up and down, right? This is where it gets, for some people, complicated. For me, it's fun because you have a big vision, right? I'm going to turn 40 in March. So I'm going to revisit my 10-year vision for the next decade and my 25-year vision. Those are my bigger visions. But then also it chunks down into micro where it's like, what's my vision for the week? We just had a new quarter for Q4 of 2025, right? So there's also different time frames and ways to play with it. But specificity is power. And the more specific you are on what you want, the more likely you are to get it, because your reticular activating system back here is going to focus on making that happen.
I'm happy you mentioned Arnold because I'm from Hungary and Arnold is from next door, from Austria originally.
Austria, right?
And I told you I used to have a gym, and of course every bodybuilder's idol is Arnold. And there is a story about him. When he was young, he was so enthusiastic, and he had such a strong desire to do that. He broke into the gym where he trained just to train. The owner of the gym gave him a pass. You don't have to break in, but here it is. You can come to the gym and train, because he wanted it so bad. Yeah. He was willing to break into the gym just to train. That's crazy. that's craziness.
Yep. Exactly. That's the dedication and the commitment. That's cool. You had a gym. So you're in obviously a fitness guy as well. That's cool. I used to work out. I still work out at the gym, but I used to be a personal trainer when I was younger as well.
Yeah, I've spent 25 years in security. So that was really part of it and still is actually. Because as a performance coach, physical fitness is a part of it. So, if you're enjoying this conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button, whether you're listening on your favorite podcast platform or watching us on YouTube. It really helps us grow and bring even more inspiring guests like Naeem. And if something resonates with you today, drop a comment. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaway so far. So Naeem, in an era where we consume so much content and are surrounded by so much noise and disruption, what role does deliberate practice play in skill building? That's
one of the fundamentals to mastery. Especially in today's world, like you said, right, with all the noise and distraction. There's literal noise outside, especially if you live in like a city, an urban area. I'm here in Cape Town, South Africa. We're in the main center, and very fun and exciting, but also lots of people, cars, sounds, construction, all that stuff. There's also figurative noise, right, where noise of like social media, right? Like obviously you see it and you hear it, but also it's like, oh, what do people think of me? Or like my followers, their followers, right? People get caught up in this whole status game. And then also you get the notifications and the pings, which is insane these days. Even more so than ever, that ability to focus and get into deep work and shut out the noise, which again is a skill, which is really cool. Once I learned that pretty much everything in life is a skill, and you could learn a skill just like anybody could learn a skill, right? Because we all have the same nervous system and we could learn that process. And there's 4 levels to learn a skill. There's unconscious incompetence, which is when you don't know what you don't even know, where you're not even aware. But then there's conscious incompetence, when you actually become aware that you don't know something. We're like, oh, and that's the part people usually quit, because they're like, oh my God, I really suck at like golfing, or I really suck at sales, or I really suck at speaking publicly. And that's when people think it's a bad thing and they quit, or they try something else and they keep that process, even in relationship, right? It's like they get into a challenge, they're like, oh, let me go find another person. But that's actually where you want to get excited, be like, oh, cool, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm going to the next level. And then after that level of conscious incompetence, there's conscious competence. That's when you are getting proficient at the skill. But you still have to focus. And then finally, if you practice enough, you do enough deliberate practice, you do enough jump shots, like Steph Curry, he took over, I think, 3 million shots in his life, and he's got the record of 3,000 or something shots made in the NBA, which is insane. But also, it's not that much compared to 3 million, which is like tiny. The point is deliberate practice. If you do enough of it over time, you will get to that point of unconscious competence where it's like, I could drive a stick shift car with my eyes closed, or I could shoot a basketball with my eyes closed, or I could do sales calls and enroll people 100% of the time, right? So no matter what it is you want to get better at, if you do enough deliberate practice and you keep playing at the edge with intensity, that's what Tony means by immersion, right? You go deep. That's how Tony mastered so many different things like Kung Fu and polo and flying a plane. He finds the best in the world, and then he goes all in, just deep immersion until he masters it, right? So that's the importance of deliberate practice in today's world and business and whatever you want to get better at.
Sounds exciting. Can you share an example of this shows up in sales training or leadership?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Sales 100%, right? Jarek and I were building a AI sales trainer. I used to work in sales. Right now I have my own business, and I'm still in, if you're an entrepreneur, you're always in sales. Typical sales training is maybe you meet with your supervisor once a month and they like check you out. They record a video, they give you some feedback, and they're like, okay, cool, go back in the wild and go make some sales. And like, if you're a top performer, you do training on your own, right? I would train every day for at least 10 minutes on my own with a program, or practice with a friend, objections, or practice my talk, right? My presentation. But there's limits to that. And again, if you're only getting feedback once a month, there's a limit to that too, where we have the idea where if you, with AI now, which is incredible, I'm sure you're playing a lot with AI, Lejos, and I hope people that are listening are getting more in AI too, which again is a skill and a habit that everybody's got to level up on, or you're going to get left behind in this world, literally. With the sales trainer, it's like whenever you want, you could open your phone, plug in, and you can get real-time feedback from the AI, and not just like passive thinking where it's like, I'm thinking about this sales thing. I'm actually playing with the AI and practicing my sales scripts, or practicing my objections, or practicing my pitch. And it's giving me feedback at the elite level that I wouldn't get from anywhere else. And I'm like, I'm getting to practice over and over and over and over and over. So if you can get to that deliberate level of practice every single day, and Tony said this, how much should you do it? It depends on how badly you want to get good at it and how much you want to master it. When Tony wanted to master public speaking back in the day, when he was doing it in the 70s and 80s, people would do like 1 talk a month. And that was like a lot. And he's like, okay, well, if I do 1 talk a day, I'm getting 30 times more practice than the other people that are doing it once a month. So same with this, right? If you want to get deliberately better at sales or leadership or in your business, whatever that jump shot is for you, like Steph Curry shooting a jump shot, practicing objections, practicing your pitch, making your offer. For entrepreneurs, it's making your offer. If you're not making an offer every day, like at least over 50 times a day, I don't know what you're doing, because you're probably not making any sales. So you got to practice that jump shot deliberately multiple times a day.
Exactly. And just, going back to this AI stuff a little bit, my view on AI, it's a little bit mixed. I see it as a double-edged sword, maybe partly because I'm also a security guy. So I see its risks also, and also the opportunities, but it creates as much noise. Just think about a lot of content that unchecked and unverified content also in social media, short videos, everything that creates a lot of noise. But on the other hand, it's an amazing tool to create something great, something big, something valuable. And it's just a matter of, are you using AI to create something great, or is AI using you? So we have to learn AI, and we have to learn how to utilize AI to create more value and not to let AI use us.
100%. I agree. 100%. Yep. Same with social media, same with technology, same with money. And that's why we need more people with the right intention and with the right heart to be using these tools, right? And usually it's the flip side, right? Usually the people that are just going it for the money or just trying to be significant, they're the ones that do this stuff the most, right? Because like, oh, and then the people with the biggest heart or the best intention, they like don't do it enough. Same with sales. Another good example. So many people that I coach, they have beautiful hearts. A lot of coaches that I know, right? They want to be coaches, but they feel they have these beliefs about sales, like, oh, I shouldn't sell somebody, or it's mean, or I'm taking their money, or I'm manipulating them. Where it's like, no, you got to do the opposite. You should be selling, or somebody else is going to sell them that's going to screw them over even more, that doesn't have a big a heart as you and isn't going to take as much care of them as you are. So same with AI. And at 100%, there's definitely security issues and challenges with AI. I think nobody knows what's going to happen with AI. Like, who knows what's going to happen when the singularity happens, and AI totally could take over the world if it already isn't already. And people think it's like the Terminator thing, right? Like the glorified movie stuff. In my opinion, it's happening now, and it's happening through social media and the algorithms. The algorithm already controls me too, right? I'm like, it's not me controlling everybody else but me. No, it's like I'm controlled too by the algorithm. Every time I open Instagram, I'm like, why did I even come here? And I'm just like going down a rabbit hole. It's amazing how powerful the technology is. And that's all AI, like TikTok, YouTube. When you go into the supermarket too, it's AI. Like Amazon knows exactly where to put even these Amazon retail stores. And there's Woolworths here in Cape Town. They know exactly what to put where based on the probabilities of people seeing certain things and what they want to buy. And the food too, like the tastes, it's insane, right? So we kind of already are in a simulation, which is, again, some people get turned off by it and like disagree or get angry. But in my opinion, you got to see things as they are and try to make them better and not be like an ostrich with your head in the sand, pretending it's not there.
And you also mentioned now another dear topic for me, which is food and health. And what I see, most entrepreneurs and business leaders, they don't connect leadership or business success with health, for example, with healthy body and mind. So how do you connect longevity practices, like you mentioned already, peptides, nutrition, sleep, or stress mastery, to better leadership?
That's a great question. I would say I did a talk at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas a few months ago, and it was really cool because I got to speak right after Brian Johnson. You know Brian Johnson?
Yes.
Right? The guy, Don't Die, and all about health and longevity. And he's a little extreme, but I love where he's coming from, and he's doing it on purpose. One is he's a smart marketer. He's trying to get people's attention, which is the best way to have a movement. And two, I think after meeting him and being there with him, you could feel somebody's intention and like their mission. And he's not doing it for the money. He's sold his company for like $500 million. So he's not trying to sell a supplement to start a supplement company for like $10 million. Like he doesn't need any of the money. But the point of me bringing this up is I love how he talks about your number one job is your health. And even he says your number one job is sleep. You want to be a professional sleeper. So no matter what, every night you got to get to bed, whatever time it is, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever you want, 10 p.m., and get to bed at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every morning. Like your job is to be a professional sleeper. And from there, everything else will fall into place. Because otherwise, there's that quote, I can't remember who said it, maybe it's Hippocrates or somebody, or Confucius, right? Like a healthy man has many wishes and a dying man or an unhealthy man has only one, right? Like I was sick a few weeks ago, and when I was traveling, I drank the water. My fiance did tell me, don't let the water go in your mouth from the sink. You might get sick. And I'm like, okay, but it's not that bad if I just rinse my toothbrush with it, is it? And somehow I got crazy sickness. I thought I had malaria, but I was like sick for like 2 weeks and it was not fun. So my point is that like when you lose your health, everything else is like irrelevant and inconsequential and everything stops. So, and especially building a business, if you want to be successful, you're going to go farther and you're going to be more successful. You're going to be more impactful with health, with energy. You'll lead your team better. You'll connect with your clients more, and you'll also be in it for the long game. Like some people are successful, but for a few years or even a decade, right? But then they're out of it, or they get a disease, or they sacrifice their body for their health and they're overweight, right? So everybody has their own option on how they want to live their life, but I don't see that as success, right? I see success as health and vitality, a loving, passionate relationship with a partner and your family, friends, and also making your impact in the world and being financially free and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and connecting again health with nutrition. I think it's very hard because the food industry spends millions or billions of dollars on developing products that look good, that taste good, that sound good. Even some they spend money on developing how the food sounds sometimes, or how it looks, how it tastes, the advertisements, how you should feel when you consume something. And the least important thing that they consider is the nutritious value. It's very hard to fight with giants because you're alone. You want to eat or you healthy, you want to be healthy, but wherever you look, you just see all these kind of things coming towards you, and you have to be really, really, really aware. I think it's not easy, even just to decide and to follow through, to eat healthy, especially in well-developed countries. Yeah, I'm not talking about the US now, but I am. But now it's everywhere, actually.
Yeah.
When you go to a supermarket, 90% of the so-called food on the shelves are not for human consumption. And people are trained through generations to look for the immediate shallow pleasure. Yep. And they look for food that tastes good and not for food that has the nutritious value to fuel your body and your mind.
Yep, 100%, man. It's wild. It's pretty scary. Not to get too doomsday, but zooming out, I think we're moving in the right direction. I think consciousness is elevating beyond that eventually. But yeah, it's crazy, right? McDonald's, people eat that stuff. And the craziest thing is we feed it to our kids. I'm like, why do you, just because your kid is like a superhuman, because they're like, their cells are replicating so fast, they have all this great hormones, but we feed our kids like even pizza with all this processed cheese. It's so bad. It's the worst in America. Here in Cape Town, the food quality is so much better. In Europe, as you know, food quality is so much better. They have such higher standards too, where they're not allowed to put a lot of things in food where they are in America. I think it's slowly changing, hopefully with Robert Kennedy having some power over there. But yeah, it's insane, man. I think it's, again, just bringing it back to your original question, mindset, right? There's people that are at the top of these organizations, even pharmaceutical companies, right, that don't want certain drugs that can heal people in the market because they want people to be sick, right? It's the same with people that are at the top of these companies, right? They're greedy out of fear and they just want to be in the positions of power. So they want to keep it. I blame them, but I don't, because if you're making $1 million a year and you have a nice life with your family, I'm sure you'd want to keep that check coming too if you're like one of the executives at McDonald's. So it's probably a tricky situation to be in. But yeah, man, it's really unfortunate. It's an industry to trick people and get people addicted to the food, just like addicted to these algorithms in social media.
Yeah. So let's change the subject now.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to a pleasant direction now because I think the industry and everything. But actually, I have a very good idea what to do with them, because I would make all these food companies to spend as much money as they spend on advertising, to spend the same amount of money on educating people.
Yep, I agree. And I think ultimately, though, every individual has to take responsibility for their own life and decisions. So I think ultimately, for people that do want to be healthier, it's really helpful to just be around healthy people, right? Proximity is power. Build a mastermind group, have an accountability buddy, read books, obviously, about this stuff. But the best thing for me is I have my group of healthy friends that just keep me accountable, focused, stop eating crappy food, sleep on time, right? So just surround yourself with those types of people and it'll be much easier than getting caught up in the noise like everybody else.
Yeah, they say you're the average of the 5 people closest to you, right?
Yep.
Okay, so tell me about your Unstoppable Confidence module, please. What can people expect from that one?
Totally, yeah. So one of the most powerful tools I learned working for Tony as a speaker, and what we teach clients and what people really want in life, is they want certainty. Another word for that is confidence. A lot of people think it comes from outside, but it actually comes from within. And we just have to learn how to channel it, to connect with it. It's already there. And the module is all about how do you actually deeply connect with your own inner certainty and confidence, and then to channel that into whatever area of your life you're working on. If you want to go get in the best shape of your life, if you want to be in a beautiful relationship with a partner, if you want to build a business, make more money, whatever it is, it starts with tapping into that certainty and realizing, again, it's not something outside that needs to happen. I don't need to have a college degree. I don't need to have somebody say something to me. I don't need to have a certain amount of followers. I don't need to have my business at a certain level. It's just when you decide and you know, and you tap into that inner certainty within yourself, and then you start taking action from that place. So the module is all about how do you actually get into that place, right? And the tools and tricks and hacks I learned working for Tony on how to do that, which is, again, probably that alongside the ability to influence people were the two most powerful things that I learned working for Tony.
Thank you. And if you give me a link to that program, I will put it in the show notes just below this video. And as we are coming towards the end of this show, I have a section that's called rapid fire questions. So are you ready to take a couple of rapid fire questions?
Let's do it. I'm ready to take the shots.
All right. So the first one is, what's that one book that made the most impact on you and changed your mindset?
Great question. I'd say there's so many books. People can go to my website, naeemmahmood.com, to see my whole list of books. But to answer your question, I'd have to say the book that kind of got me started on my personal development journey was a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And I just had him on my podcast now a couple months ago. That's the book. And Jack Canfield's a legendary person in the personal growth space.
Great. Thank you. What's that one habit you never skip?
There's a lot, but if I had to choose one, meditation and working out, but meditation. I've meditated for over 15 years now, and I don't think I've missed a day. Maybe I missed a day to experiment on what it would be like to not meditate. But yeah, meditation's been a game changer for me.
Great. I just read a quote one day that said, the illiterate of the 21st century is not that who cannot read and write, but it's that who are not able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So tell me one thing that you had to unlearn to grow.
That's a great question. Unlearning.
Something, an old belief or something, an old teaching that's not relevant today or anything like that.
I had to unlearn, and this is kind of an entrepreneurial curse, right? Unlearn doing everything by myself and then relearning how to work with other people. And actually, it's going to sound bad, right? But how to get people to do it for me instead, which is a superpower. And that's what Henry Ford was a genius at, right? And Elon Musk, where it's like letting go of that kind of ego. For me, it was like ego, where it's like, I can do it. I'll do it myself. I'll do it the best. Where it's like, actually, maybe I should, let me not do this and let me go get Lejos to do this for me, right? Or somebody that really wants to do this, somebody that's better than me at doing this, and it gets better results. I still look good and I still get to reap the benefits, and the other person loves it as well.
I think that doesn't sound bad. I think that's the key to growth. And many leaders suffer from this. They are not able to let go. They are not able to delegate because they still think, they are the only one who can do that particular task or job. And on the other hand, if they don't let things go, they just block themselves from growth. So yeah, this is a very, very important thing, I think, what you said. And my last question to you, what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self with the knowledge and experience you have today?
I'd say start as early as possible, because again, it's more about the deliberate repetitions over time. So I wish I started my business earlier. I started in my 30s, but if I started in my 20s, I would just have had more time to practice business, right? Playing the game of business and getting better at that, right? But whatever it is, business, investing, whatever you want to get better at or a goal you want to achieve, instead of waiting till it's like the right moment, which is just burning your most valuable resource, which is time. Start as early as possible, make the leap, and get the reps in and do the deliberate practice.
Naeem, thank you for the incredible insight and powerful strategies. From belief shifts to energy optimization, you've given us listeners a real masterclass in sustainable high performance. To anyone tuning in, if you want to go deeper, check out Naeem's Unstoppable Confidence module, part of his Peak Life OS system. You can also grab his free resources and follow his work using the links in the show notes. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and I will see you in the next episode of the Achievement Mastery Podcast. Thank you, Naeem.
Absolutely, Lejos. Thanks, bro.